wash your hands. Hey, I'm Austin.
And I'm Ryan. And this is the Spring Chat.
Where we talk all things Disney.
Resorts.
Shopping.
Food.
You can catch us at 8:30 on Thursday nights on
Facebook. YouTube.
Twitch, and now Spotify on Amplified Network.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us here at the Amplified Network. Your show will begin in just a few minutes, but first I want to go on ahead and shout out to our awesome sponsors. First, we have the Mouse Merch Box. It is an official Disney subscription box. It is $60 quarterly if you subscribe, or $70 per box. It's going to come with $120 to $150 worth of exclusive Disney apparel and merchandise, so definitely check that out. If you do decide that you want to check them out, we do have a coupon code for you. Coupon code is going to be Springs20 for 20% off of your order. Next, we have the Great Adventure Supply Company. Great Adventure Supply Company is really cool. They have a bunch of 80s and 90s themed pop culture themed Disney and theme park apparel. So if you're like me, you miss the 90s, you love that style. They recently released some new exciting additions to their store. Be sure to check them out. And we also have a coupon code for the Great Adventure Supply Company that's going to be Magic15 for 15% off of your order. So thank you so much for joining us. We greatly appreciate you and our sponsors. So stay tuned here on the Amplified Network. Your show will be coming up soon.
What's up, everyone? How are we doing? My name's Amp. This is the 60-minute suspension. I'm Amp, and on the screen today, we got T-Dub Tyler Williams.
Let's go. Welcome, everybody. 60-minute suspension.
What?
We got a big show tonight.
Woo! Yeah, we do. This is going to be fun, man. We got a lot of topics today that we got to cover. I'm going to get rid of this thing. One of probably, I don't know what you would say, Tyler, but one of the weirdest drafts we've seen in a while. A lot of picks that just kind of seemed out of order.
Absolutely. Some things seemed out of order for sure. Daniel Jones going 6 to the Giants, that's ridiculous. But other things happened. Cleveland Farrell was a big pick early by the Raiders. It was weird.
Who was it? Josh Allen? Josh Allen fell to the Jags. Who saw that coming? But overall, man, pretty interesting draft in the first round, at least in the first 10 picks. I think that was a lot of fun. But with that being said, there's a lot going on with that. And just to give you guys a heads up, Tyler's on a bit of a delay with me in order to Skype him and do this simultaneously. It gives us a little bit of a gap. So, Tyler, hang in there. Everyone who's watching, hang in there because that delay is going to be there just for a little bit, but he can still chime in. You can still hear me, right, buddy?
Yeah, definitely. I can hear you. Absolutely.
All right, cool. I just wanted to test that delay. It is pretty long. So we're going to dive right in. So 60-minute suspension, we talk about all the, drama that goes on in the league. This is pretty awesome drama, if I should say so myself. We're not a big political show, but we might want to think about it after what happened with the Nick Bosa situation. Tyler, how did you feel when you found out about Donald Trump saying what he said? I haven't said what he said yet, but I just want to see, what was your first initial reaction when I brought this up to you about what Donald Trump said to Nick Bosa?
I just kind of thought it was typical. It was something, of course, Donald Trump would say. Of course, he wouldn't congratulate, the player who's not outright supporting him. He's going to just skip over the number one congratulations and skip the number 2 player because he supports Trump. That's typical, but didn't expect anything different. What did you think?
Yeah, I'm going to dive into the story because I want to say it's funny, but it's very not funny. It's actually quite ridiculous that our president's like this. But anyway, so Nick Bosa, he went second overall. But if you don't know, what's his name? Kyle Murray. Basically, Kyler Murray. Sorry, Kyler Murray was drafted first overall. He's an African American quarterback, and to add even more coolness to this guy, he was actually drafted in the first round in the MLB as well. Tyler, I don't know if you knew that. So he's a first-round draft pick in the MLB and the NFL.
Well, I think the first player ever to be drafted both MLB and NFL, like first round.
Exactly. The first ever do it, which is pretty incredible. But, you know, with that cool accomplishment in history of sports, you know, you would think your president of the United States would be like, hey, man, that's super cool. You know, congratulations. Nope. He skips right past the first overall pick. And Nick Bosa.
Almost like it doesn't even
exist.
exist.
The brother of. Yeah, he didn't even. Yeah, exactly. He doesn't even like explain or like support the idea of the first overall pick. He just skips right over him. So Nick Bosa is the brother of. Tyler, help me out here. I forgot his name.
Joey Bosa.
Joey Bosa. That's it. Yeah, he's the brother of Joey Bosa. But Nick, back in, I want to say his early years, I'm not sure if it was high school or it might have been early college years, he drops this stupid tweet about Colin Kaepernick, and he calls him a clown. He calls him a clown for what he was doing, right? He says that. Well, I guess after or leading up to the draft, Bosa came out and apologized for everything that he had said. And that's not the only thing he said, though. But Bosa's gone on some pretty bad Twitter tweets, if I will. He's called, gosh, I got to see if I can find him again. But he called, yeah, here we go. Sorry, I'm still trying to get all my stuff together. But he basically said, he was talking about Beyonce's new song and how it was garbage. He talked about Draymond Green, Colin Kaepernick, Jay-Z, basically just outright just being, I mean, borderline racist.
Very one-sided.
He calls out all these African. What did you say?
Very one-sided. Like he's clearly like only calling out certain types of people.
Right, exactly. Jeff, thank you for the shout out, man. That's awesome. But yeah, he's basically just calling out one specific, you know, ethnicity, basically, throughout his college career. But as you know, no, Tyler, we're gonna keep doing Skype, man. It's good for right now. But as you know, these hashtags, and he even like makes fun of homophobic.
Yeah, he likes
as well.
homophobic tweets. Yeah. So he's not the biggest like role model of the Twitter sphere.
Yeah, he liked those. Yeah, he liked some N-word things that people had said. Just really obnoxious player, I guess, in college, not really thinking it through. So anyways, he has a press conference today explaining, you know, how sorry he was. A lot of people were talking about how they noticed he was like dribbling behind the mic, so like he would cross his fingers like this, kind of shake a little bit, be a little timid, sweating. A lot of people said that it looked genuine because he was by himself. He didn't have anyone go up on the podium with him or whatever. But let's get to what the president says, okay? Because the president, we know how he is, and he's a very interesting person, to say the least. Donald Trump basically says this, and this was, it had to have been like the weekend after the draft. Donald Trump says, congrats to Nick Bosa on being picked number two in the NFL draft. You will be a great player for years to come. maybe one of the best. Big talent. San Francisco will embrace you, but most importantly, always stay true to yourself. Make
Yeah, of course.
America great again.
Yeah, of course Trump is going to stick to the guy that, like, he's going to continue to stick to the guy who's next to him. He's not going to reach out to anybody who's different from him. He's just going to always support the ones who are better, or who he thinks are better. Of course, it's going to be that way.
Right. Jeff, so Jeff, what are you referring to? What Nick Bosa said? Well, Nick Bosa basically said that he found Colin Kaepernick's actions a clown. He was calling him a clown. And then he's just liked a lot of inappropriate things, for a football player of his caliber. He kind of just put himself out there by liking the N-word. A lot of people were posting N-word comments, and he liked that. And then he also liked some homophobic comments. And I wish I had the exact words he said about Beyonce, but it was basically he was calling her new music garbage, in a sense.
Beyonce.
And I think it's funny that Donald Trump... Yeah, and to think a lot more about something he sent out. And Bosa, like I said, he had his press conference today. He apologized. He even said this. He said, "I've learned a lot in the past couple months. I'm definitely going to think a lot more before I send something out." And with all that being said, Donald Trump comes out and says, "Stay true to yourself." What does that even mean? Tyler, what do you think that means?
I think because, a lot of like people who support, make America great again things, they they feel like they're being attacked, left and right, or like they aren't, they're kind of almost in the minority now. So Trump is like encouraging Bosa to never like back down. But however, Bosa has had his Twitter cleaned, so in a sense, he's backing down from everything he has once said and spoken. And what the funny part is that Bosa, knew he could be drafted by San Francisco. San Francisco is a very, very liberal town, very liberal city, and some of those teammates, I believe, were still with Colin Kaepernick. What Bosa did was kind of like, to me, kind of cowardly. I mean, I think what he did today, or at the press conference, was at least he addressed it, kind of in a man-to-man sense, rather than with his GM next to him and his head coach and all of this and all of that. He didn't. He apologized, so that was decent. But then he kind of backpedaled. It was like a backpedaling of an apology rather than like a full front acceptance of like, okay, I said some pretty bad things once. So the whole thing is it's kind of tricky, especially the city that he's in. Is he going to be accepted by his team? Is he going to be accepted by the city? Is he going to be? Are people going to be open to playing with him? Or like, is there going to be a racial divide? May there be any other sort of divide in the locker room or even in the city? I don't know. I mean, but I don't think that it'll. It won't stop him from getting paid. It won't stop Trump from pushing him forward,
So I actually found the tweets that he did send out previously. So Bosa called Beyonce's music trash. He said that once, and that's a quote. And then he also said that the Black Panther movie is the worst Marvel movie. And then he liked multiple Instagram posts that featured the N-word and a homophobic slur. So, yeah, this is your number 2 pick, and this is the guy that Donald Trump just endorsed over someone who just got drafted in the NBL and or MLB and the NFL. So, incredible. It's just incredible.
It's mind-blowing. It's fun. It's like, how do how do you just not at least acknowledge both? At least if you're gonna acknowledge one, at least acknowledge the other. Just like throw a disguise on like what you're doing. Don't just be that forwardly
Yeah, it's
supportive
so
of
blatant.
your own kind.
Yeah, exactly. Um, Gosh, I mean, I think we're butchering this up pretty well. Nick, we'll see what happens. Tyler, you made some really good points about him going to San Francisco. That's a liberal city. I mean, that's going to be
Yeah.
a situation. I mean, there's even a tweet here where Nick retweeted something that Trump said in the previous, something about calling, I think, Ronald Reagan a goat, which in acronyms is greatest of all time, when he passed away. And basically, Boza retweeted that from what Trump had said. Yeah, here it is. Among posts, he deleted one praising Trump in February 2018. After Trump, he wished former President Ronald Reagan a happy birthday. Boza retweeted Trump's post with a message, goats. So, plural. It was goats in plural. And, yeah, so, I mean, there's some love there for Trump, obviously, that he has for Trump. And, I mean, we'll see how that plays out in San Francisco, man.
For sure. Yeah. Well, I think it'll end up working out okay. I don't think it'll really hurt him. The big effect I think is winning over the locker room and his teammates. But it is kind of like frustrating to see one player get snubbed when he didn't really do anything to not deserve, credit, and the other player get credit for it. But it is what it is. That's where we're at with the 60-minute suspension. Let's move on to our next topic. We'll go ahead and ride into another draft issue. We'll talk about Jeffrey Simmons. Jeffrey Simmons is the great thing about us is we can build our own opinion about things, and this is a really touchy subject that is one that I'm not sure that I'm willing to take a public opinion on or make my opinion so public right now.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't really want to. I don't want to be looked at in a different way. But we'll kind of battle it. We'll kind of kick both angles of it and see what we come up with. But it's touchy, so I'll dive right into it.
What happened? And
yeah, okay. So basically, we got this young recruit, 5-star All-American, like kicking butt. He's gonna be the next big thing. So he commits to Mississippi State. Dan Mullen's the head coach. He's now the current coach of the Florida Gators. Go Gators! But at the time, he was the head coach of Mississippi State. So Jeffrey Simmons is a young high school student, hasn't graduated from high school yet, still doing the whole high school process, probably hasn't even been to prom, the whole 9 yards. I think he's like either 17 or barely 18 years old. His mother and his sister get in an altercation with another woman. And this is where it starts to get a little tricky. So while being a recruit, Jeffrey Simmons is like in the middle of a fight between his mother and his sister fighting this other lady. So Simmons tries to break it up on multiple occasions. I hear it was 2 or 3, but really the video that gets caught is the snapping point of Simmons. So this 17, 18-year-old kid, big dude, he's a defensive lineman, so he's like, he drafted, he was like 6'4", 300 and something pounds. So he's a big dude, even in high school, big kid. But the video you see is him standing over a girl and just absolutely like hitting her like maybe 4 or 5 times and just clean punches. So the kid does that, and then that video goes viral. It's all over. It makes national news because this kid's a 5-star recruit. And then there's a big question in the air, like, what do you do? Do you let him play college football? Do you give him the scholarship? What's the next step? So the next steps are he still remains committed to Mississippi State. Dan Mullen believes in him. He, while at Mississippi State, becomes an academic All-American, and becomes an actual football All-American as well. So So
Tyler, it
if
sounds like you have a
he,
helper
so
over there.
yeah, she's trying to give me some advice. So he becomes both the academic and football All-American, all while his time is at Mississippi State, and all while getting praised by every type of leader within shouting distance of Jeffrey Simmons. So some would call it a redemption story. Some have not forgiven him. You know, some in the public eye have not forgiven him. By the way, he was drafted first round by the Tennessee Titans. So after a torn ACL, which I forgot to mention, he tore his ACL this season. So it's a long story and there's a lot that goes to it, but there is just a ton of factors. But it pulls at every like kind of way at you, like, oh, you want to hate this kid, but then he redeemed himself. Well, I mean, how do you feel about it, Am?
Well, it's a tough story. Basically, he was in high school when this happened, is my understanding. So he was a senior when this fight went down, and then he turns around in college, and do we know if he had any incidences in college? I don't think he did. I think he was just an All-American, great kid, right?
All-American. All-American. He got many awards off the field to do with leadership and academics. So he's gotten a lot of stuff that has proved him to become a decent leader.
Yeah. See, it's a tough one, Well,
let me ask you.
You never put your hands on a woman. Yeah.
Right. I hear you, but let me ask you, like, your mother and your sister, they're losing the fight. You've done multiple times to try and break it up. I'm not saying you lose it, but this kid lost it. It's not acceptable. But then you have that mother sister like defending kind of thing. And then you got the fact that he's just a kid. But then you got the fact that he's 300 pounds. There's so many things. I just think you have to really call it at the 300 pounds.
That's the other issue. He's massive. Wasn't he hitting his mom? Wasn't that the story? He was hitting his mom? Or was it some random lady?
I think he was defending his mother and sister.
Okay. Man, that's so tough. I want to forgive him, I think inside I do, and a lot of people want to forgive him. I mean, people look at it in a sense of, if the true story is he was defending his mom and he was defending his sister, at the end of the day, if a woman's beating up my mom, I'm gonna do all I can to get her off my mom. So,
it sounds like he. Yeah, it sounds like he worked. It sounds like he tried to separate them multiple times. And I don't know.
Yeah. So it sounded like he put some effort into it to break it apart, but it just wasn't working. And I guess his mom, obviously his mom must have been getting hit. And we're not just talking like a couple taps. Like, she must have been really getting worked on for him to kind of just go berserk,
Right.
But we weren't there either. So, we're kind of
weren't there,
a story in hopes that it molds the situation better. So, that's a tough one, man.
Okay.
I never condone, hitting a woman, but also, yeah.
So what do you do if you're the Tennessee Titans?
What are we gonna?
What do you do if you're if you're trying to draft him first round? Or you got a first round pick?
Well, they drafted him though, right? They actually drafted him.
They drafted him, yeah.
With it, right?
Yeah, they drafted him, but as a team, what do you do? What are your steps that you take?
He got an award too in college, like an offensive lineman award or something. He got an award, so he has some accolades. it just sounds like everyone's kind of forgiven him at this point. I don't think there's really anyone that looks down on him, especially if the Titans took him in the first round. Honestly, though, if I'm a Titans GM, I'm not drafting a guy with a broken ACL in the first round. That's just me, though. I'm not.
Right.
If I'm being
Right.
honest, I'm not taking.
Right.
You know that it has nothing to do with his past. Like, look, you can't. Like, why am I gonna pick up a? I understand you're really good. I'll let you fall to the second round. If you're still there in the second round, I'll take you. But I'm not wasting a first round on a broken leg guy. That's my first reaction, honestly.
I
No,
mean, but
Carlos just chimed in. Carlos, we don't have the video of what happened.
I mean, you can
What were you
YouTube
saying?
it. You can YouTube the video.
Yeah, we can find it. I just don't have the time right now to add it. It's too late now. I don't have the time to add it. But I don't know, man. That's a tough one, dude. At the end of the day, I don't think it's ever right to put your hands on a woman, but also survival starts kicking in. I mean, it's easy to say right
Yeah.
now. I'm not in the moment, and I've never been in the moment. But it's easy to say, like I'll never hit a woman. But dude, if I'm
Yeah,
getting
and
jumped or if
yeah,
someone's
and he could really have just bear hugged her, or like laid on her, or there's other options. I think, at the end of the day, there's other options. And he was a child, and hopefully he's shown that he's matured. But does he deserve a second chance? I mean, he got his second chance, but to you, does he deserve a
yeah, I was
second
about to
chance?
say. I mean, he's in it now. I mean, do I believe so? Yeah. I mean, I think everyone deserves a second chance to an extent, depending on the situation. I'm not,
Well,
I
what
would
do you
never
think
say
he's done
Aaron
with his second
Hernandez
chance?
deserves a second chance. Say that one more time.
Do you think he did a good job with his second chance?
I mean, it's hard to say right now because I think he's living it. I think he's in it right now.
Well, when did his second
Yeah.
chance start?
I gotta give
He
him
got
credit.
suspended
He
by
went through
Mississippi
college.
State for the first game. So that was his punishment. That was all. That was it. That was all his punishment. One game, Mississippi State. So like I feel like he deserved more punishment than that. It was before his time at Mississippi State. But what about like what he's? I feel like he's done good with his second opportunity. And
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm
at the
trying to say, I
time,
guess is I think he's living his second chance right now, and so I guess we have to wait and see if he ever gets in legal trouble. If he never gets in it, then I think he survived his second chance. But up until then, now the NFL. Now
well,
this,
what about
this brings
now?
up a good situation with the NFL.
What about now, though?
'Cause
Like, what about
what do you mean right now?
he was academic All-American. Like he's a graduate, I believe. He kicked butt in college. I think he has a future outside of football if he needed to. So, do you think he deserved the second chance he
Yeah, I'm
got?
not.
Do you think he paid? Do you think he paid for his consequences, or do you think he paid for his actions?
Well, one game for hitting a woman. No, I don't think that's punishment. But then also, life's not.
But then
fair. So
also,
I mean, there's
it
tons of
wasn't
people.
on Mississippi State.
What?
It wasn't on Mississippi State. It was on. He wasn't signed to Mississippi State. So it's like I feel like he almost didn't get punished. You know what I'm saying? I feel like one game wasn't enough. I feel like I don't know what kind of. I don't think he went through any legal issues with it. He was able to make the best opportunity that most of us hope for. He even made it better. Even after that, it just didn't. I do wish that he did receive a little more punishment, and now he's making millions of dollars. And it just did. There was no kind of no justice for it. One game, the first game for Mississippi State is probably, Louisiana Tech or somebody like that. As a freshman, he wasn't probably going to play in that game anyways.
I mean, all I can say, man, is I don't think life's fair. That's all I can wrap it up to, because it happened at a weird time of his life where he was transitioning to college. College tried to punish him for a situation that didn't happen on their campus. So in reality, he should have gotten expelled or something from high school, and then that should have kept him from going to college. That should have been his punishment. Is something should have stopped him from getting his scholarship. And then that's where I say life's not fair. See, like that, in that moment, that should have been what? Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. You were on a roll. I agree with you.
That we missed that point. Like that transition from high school to college. Like he got a scholarship, and they gave him his punishment, and his life went on. And so, you kept asking me, like, his second chance. He's in it. He's living it, and I think he's doing a great job with it. I think a better question is, can you move on from your past, mistakes? Can we move on from our ghosts, our demons? I think that's a better question for him, because is he going to be able to live knowing that he had that happen in his life? Is he going to have to live with regret? And then that would be the punishment for him personally.
Right.
I think for a lot of people, and even athletes now, I'm sure there's a lot of things that we get away with in our lives that no one ever knows about. And at the end of the day, you got to live with yourself, And I think with him, he's going to have to live with himself that he beat the crap out of a girl.
Yeah, and I think you hit on a good point as well. You talked about how maybe the NCAA should have, taken away his opportunity at a scholarship or something like that. I do think there needs to be some, some overall, ramifications through the whole entire, collegiate athletic association, that there needs to be some at least some guidelines, some stipulations, some at least some moral standards about that, because I think there should have been more overhead by the NCAA to oversee this recruitment and say, hey, we're going to do this the proper way. This kid deserves by NCAA standards this amount of suspension, not just one game, or not just this or that. At the same time, like, recruitment by the coach's standard is, truthfully, you're only going to offer 15 to 25 scholarships a recruiting cycle. So you have to make sure you're offering scholarships to what you hope to be very good people and very good athletes. So when they go and sit down with these people, they get a feel for who these players are. I know we kind of think recruitment is a joke and you buy your players, and it kind of is, and there is truth to that. But there is a get to knowing process. There is a get to know the player's background, get to know the family, sit down with so maybe Dan Mullen did his homework on this cat, and maybe he said, you know what, it was a bad mistake and an ugly time, and let's see if we can redeem this guy. I don't know. But I think overall the NCAA, I think you hit on it earlier, has to be an overhead on this and kind of say, you know what, Mississippi State, you're gonna have to, if you're gonna take him on as a player, you're gonna have to suspend him, for a season or blah blah blah, for example.
Yeah. Actually, Carlos chimes in and he says, "Look at Ray Lewis. He got his second chance, and now he's gonna go down as one of the best defensive players ever."
Well, yeah.
There
was no video. There's no video evidence to Ray Lewis. Verdict's still out. No.
That's true. There's no video evidence. Yeah, Carlos, show me the video evidence, huh? All right. So I got one more draft story before we jump on to our Tariq Hill situation. So everyone's been in a big hoopla over the Giants, right? everyone hates this pick. I mean, everyone. The New York Giants, if you didn't know or if you were hidden under a rock, number 6 overall pick, they take a Duke University quarterback. I didn't stutter. I didn't mess that up. A big
Duke.
blue Duke quarterback. That means ACC, bottom of the barrel ACC.
I don't know about that.
They took
I don't
him
know.
6th overall.
Duke's no longer bottom of the barrel.
No, you don't agree with me on that one?
Probably
Duke's
because
pretty
of
low. They're not.
they're in their existence they're very low. But currently they were better than the Seminoles. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Anyways, no. So, anyways, yeah, Daniel Jones. He was the starting quarterback for the Duke, and he gets picked 6 overall. Tyler, you cannot sit there and tell me this was a good pick. There's no argument on this planet that will support that was a good pick.
I mean, he was coached by David Cutcliffe. He he looks like a Manning. All right, that's all I got. That's all I have. It's not a good pick.
He's not a good pick. He's tall and he runs a lot. Apparently,
He's very slow.
He's pretty average. A lot of people say that he's got a really good short game, so he can throw screens and below 5 yards on really good precision. But anything past that, you should have gone in a different direction.
Did you hear about the fans booing him?
Bortles. I'm just kidding. Well, no. I'm not.
Did you hear about the fans booing him at MetLife?
They booed him in the stadium.
It was so
I
funny.
heard about that. There was. It was so funny. But the Giants, and this is kind of a sad story, but the Giants also drafted another player in the 6th round. I don't know if you heard about this, Tyler, and I'm kind of bringing this up on you last minute. Corey Ballentine, I don't know if you heard about this, in the 6th round, he was shot dead Sunday morning. So literally after he got drafted, he was killed the very next day. It's an off-the-field incident, and I'm going to quote this guy who does a talk show for the Funhouse, Mike Francisca, and I quote, this is what he says: "You can have an off-field incident with any draft pick, anytime, any team, but when you finish your draft and stress how you went out of your way to take the right kind of guy, the guys you want on your time, the guys who are going to be great character guys, when you stress that, it looks pretty bad when one of them gets shot on a Saturday morning." Well, it was Sunday morning, so he was a little off on that. But he kind of, is basically ramming into the Giants about not doing their homework on certain players. But you can't do your homework on that.
No, you can't do your homework on that. That's tough, man. That's a sad story. You really feel for him and his family, and all who are involved. That's really sad.
Yeah. So, rough day for the Giants. They don't get a good first-round pick, and then their 6th-round pick guy doesn't have the best of days on the weekend. So pretty rough draft for the Giants. So staying on this rough little bandwagon that we got going on, there's one more story that we do want to cover, and both Tyler and I both are on the same consensus with this one. This is a really rough story to kind of talk about, but it's one that needs to be brought up because it's important. If you play fantasy football, you know of this guy. He is huge in fantasy football. He was on my team for sure. Tyler, did you have Tyreek Hill on any of your teams?
No, sadly, I lost to him a bunch. Actually, he was dynamic last season. That's for sure.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill. Probably one of the best. He has to be in the top 10. If not top 10, he's close to top 5. Best receivers in the game right now. But really disturbing story comes out from Kansas City involving him, his son, and his fiance. And the best way I can describe it to you is I'm just going to kind of read it. And it's kind of hard for me to really describe it, so I'm just going to kind of read it. The league and players union received the same 11-minute audio recordings that KCTV5 aired. They aired it last week, which features Tyreek Hill discussing his son's broken arm and how he and his fiancée, Crystal, should deal with the investigation and what happened. So, clarifying, there is a private recording, or I don't think it was private. I think they knew that they were actually going to record it. It's an actual recording between the fiance and Tyreek Hill and his 3-year-old son received a broken arm. And it's an 11-minute conversation between Tyreek and his fiance talking about how they're going to cover it up. That's basically what's happening. The recording includes Crystal asking the receiver why their son said, "Daddy did it," in reference to his injured arm. Hill is heard at one point threatening Crystal, telling her, "You need to be terrified of me too, B-word." While the league has historically declined to use... so basically what happened, the league has put Tyreek Hill on... gosh, I can't find the list now. I forget what they call the list. It's basically like a suspension list. It's a... and thank you, that's it. The exemption list. So basically he can't do anything football related on or off, like anywhere on NFL facilities, if I'm right. He can't go to meetings. He can't go to training. He can't do anything on any facility. And that's because of legal issues that they're going to be waiting for, which, could happen pretty soon. The NFL might make an exemption in this case since Hill is in the middle of an ongoing criminal investigation. The list keeps a player off the field while the league reveals charges or allegations, while usually waiting for legal system to conclude its process. In Kansas City, prosecutors reopened the criminal investigation while Hill was suspended by Chiefs after the tape was released.
Damn.
There's another...
Why?
Let me grab this other article.
Why does this guy even have any kind of NFL ties right now?
Yeah, I'm going to dive into that with you in 1 second because there's one more thing I want to say. So reporters from KCTV believe that the audio is an insurance policy that was given to a friend of Crystal. So basically, Crystal was recording it, gave it to her friend. In one portion of the clip, Crystal describes the couple's son as being terrified of Hill. And then Hill responded. So he said, terrified of Hill. He responded by saying, "You need to be terrified of me too," and then the B word. I know I just said that, but it just is rough. They go on. Hill can be heard in the clip denying that he did anything to the couple's son. So he's constantly denying it in the clip. But he also stated this, and I quote, "You use a belt too," after Crystal said, "What do you mean when the child, or what do you do when the child is bad? You make him open his arms and you punch him in the chest." Wow. In 2015, Hill pleaded guilty to domestic assault and battery charges in 2015. He was given 3-year probation sentence, and the Chiefs later selected him in the 5th round of the 2016 NFL draft. Wow. So, to bring you back to your question, Tyler, why is he still in the NFL? I have no idea. I have no idea.
I mean, this is pretty much like cut and dry stuff. He's on audio. The NFL can punish him how they please, which means they can ban him from the league. Which means, why are they wasting time? Not just not cutting ties with this guy. You know, I don't understand an organization can have all of this evidence, you know, and feel the need to wait for an actual, you know, judicial verdict. I get the rights to, but those are personal rights. The rights to a speedy trial and all that, those are personal rights. That has nothing to do with the NFL. Why are they waiting on this subject? The NFL needs to be proactive and just ban them.
I mean, we got to look to their past, like more recent years, like the Ray Rice situation. How terrible that was handled. The Adrian Peterson situation with the switch to his son. For some reason, the NFL can't get domestic violence, child violence, any type of violence. For some reason, they can't get it under control, and it comes down, in my opinion, to Roger Goodell. I mean, ultimately, he is the Vince McMahon of the NFL. He makes all the decisions. So I have never liked Roger Goodell. I still don't like Roger Goodell, and this is even further sinking him in a hole that I hate him for. Like, I don't know if people know this. He just got a raise, like literally last year or 2 years ago. He got a raise. I think it's like $65 million a year.
Insurance
right?
for lifetime.
Like some. Or lifetime. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Please.
Exactly.
Well,
it's his
insurance
own
for lifetime.
Private jet. Yeah. Insurance for a lifetime. He has his own private jet. Yeah. His own private jet to go wherever he wants. This is all
forever
created by the NFL owners. This forever. Like he's set forever. And he has one job. Literally one job, to make sure the NFL runs smoothly, to make sure the integrity of the shield is held up. When
he's there, he's literally there to hold the league accountable.
When shit like this happens, yeah, like when shit like this happens, he needs to get fired. Like, this is stupid. This is so stupid. Tyreek Hill needs to be banned from life, should be banned from any type of football-related anything. Like, he shouldn't be allowed to go down the CFL or the USFL, whatever is going on, the XFL that's coming out. He should be banned from every single professional sport, amateur sport, anything. Like, this guy is a piece of trash. Like,
Absolutely.
Bruh, this is my new quote: trash, straight trash.
Trash.
Like, he sucks.
Jalen Ramsey.
He sucks human being. He terrible human being. The fact that she says this in the audio clip, a 3-year-old child, you make him move his hands so you can punch him in the chest. Are you fucking kidding me? What a piece of shit. I'm so sorry for all my language. But yeah.
Not only did he do all this right now, but before, like you said, in 2015, this guy was drafted on probation. He was on probation when he was drafted. Not only was he drafted on probation, he wasn't on probation. He wasn't on probation for stealing anything. He punched Crystal, his at the time pregnant wife. And that's what he was on probation for. This is not the first incident. Like, this is, and honestly, dude, unpopular opinion right now. People may hate me for this, particularly men, but women should run the NFL. Honestly, because men, we don't hold each other as accountable as we should, especially higher ups. Unpopular opinion, but I bet it would be a cleaner league if a female was in charge. I talked about this in my writing group earlier tonight, and It's ridiculous. Like, yeah, we can play, we can get into a game and mash our brains together and be good at it, but we can't hold each other accountable or hold ourselves to a moral standard, no matter how much money we make. Unpopular opinion, but if a female was in charge right now, guaranteed Tyreek Hill would not be in the league. Not even sniff the name of the NFL.
I mean,
the NFL wouldn't even like bear this kind of disgrace.
yeah, that was a great word, disgrace. I mean, I'm so appalled with the NFL for keeping them on there. You're absolutely right about women. I mean, dude, it could be a woman, it could be transgender. I don't care. If it's someone who will not let this man be in any type of professional sport, and I'm talking anything, dude. I'm telling you, this guy better not be in any amateur sport or anything. Nothing. He should not. He should be banned from every single paid anything for the rest of his life. He should be banned from all of it. You can't sit there and tell me that that your fiance audibly says that you punch a 3-year-old child in the chest, and then you should be scared of me too. Like, you are such a piece of shit human being. Like, you shouldn't be allowed to do anything. Like, someone should suspend his driver's license. Like, his life should be over. I'm sorry. You don't hit a kid like that. A 3-year-old kid. You are a grown professional athlete man. You lift weights for a living to push other grown men off of you. There is nothing redeemable.
But he's 3 years. He's 3 years old.
Chance for you.
Crazy.
3-year-old dude. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. I can't even describe to you how disgusted I am with the NFL with this story. Why is it really this much talent over humanity? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to get all like sensitive and shit about football, but like, but you're absolutely
is
right.
it really?
But you're
is it really
right.
to a point
it's
to
so
where
true.
Like we're putting
It's so true.
over how we treat humans?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, at what point do we decide that athletes are not bigger than the situation they're in? You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's tough because we just talked about a story with a guy that beat up a girl to save his mom. Okay? And now we're talking about giving him a second chance. But then we have stories like this where this guy is right now beating on kids. And then we have Adrian Peterson, who beat his kid, and he's still playing in the league. You have Ray Rice, who can't find a job. He's already said he apologized 1 billion times, but no one will give him a shot. You know. But then, man, we're going down a rabbit hole. But then you got people like Colin Kaepernick, who's very peaceful about his choices and his decisions, and he's blackballed from the league. Roger Goodell is straight trash. Roger Goodell is trash. He can go find a job at McDonald's, and I will never go to that McDonald's. I love McDonald's. I will never go to that McDonald's as long as Roger Goodell works there because he'll mess up my McChicken every single time. He's straight trash. He's trash. I'm sorry. I'm so mad. I'm so mad at this situation.
He's the reason the ice cream machine is always broke. Roger Goodell.
All right. I think we I don't think we've expressed it enough, but I really hope that Roger Goodell comes out tomorrow and says, we don't care what's going to happen with the legal system. Tyreek Hill is banned from all NFL games, training, anything. He is not welcome on this facility. And actually, you know, another group of people and individuals that I'm really upset with, the Players Union. The Players Union hasn't come out and said anything to support or defend or to shame him.
Right. They only talk about like what the players need. They don't hold the players accountable themselves, you know? Like, it's not, the Players Union is not all about what's the best thing for the players. It's also about, you know, being holding yourself to an accountable, upstanding person. That's what that's what the Players Union is about. That's why you pick the best players on the team to represent that union, or the players with the highest characters. You know, the highest character on the team to represent your team in that union. But even so, they still don't even hold themselves accountable. That's what I'm saying, man. Like it's nobody's holding anybody accountable for anything, from all the way down to Roger Goodell, down to all the way down to the players themselves. You know, locker rooms are getting wild. Players are getting kind of like the stories we hear are getting worse and worse. You know, and the crazy part is there is so much talent below the 1,600 players that play in the NFL. You know, there is so much other talent that can be used. You know, it's incredible that we feel the need to hang on to these players instead of just cutting ties with them. Like they've had their shot at $1 million plus. You know, they've had their shot at league minimum $400 and something $1,000 a year. If they can't have enough character to hold themselves accountable to earn that money and have and you know be an upstanding citizen, they don't deserve it. And the league has to understand there's plenty of players behind them. Look at how many undrafted free agents just pop out of nowhere, and you're like, oh my God, that guy had an amazing season. Now he has an amazing career. You know, like Victor Cruz, players like that. You know, Cameron Wake, players like that. There's a lot of players who have those, you know, long shots at the career, but they're never going to get it because there's Tyreek Hill who gets to stay in the league after breaking a kid's arm. Not saying he will stay in the league, but currently he is still an employee of the NFL. Even if he's exempt, even if he's suspended, no matter what, until he's banned and AKA fired, he's still an NFL employee.
Right, exactly. He's still employed by the NFL, which is disgusting because he shouldn't be, like, at all. Stephen A. Smith, if you don't know who this guy is, he's the most he's the most loudmouth, obnoxious, probably broadcaster out there. He gives his opinion on every single thing that comes through the news feed. If you have seen the news feed and you're like, oh man, that sucks, or that's cool, or that's whatever, I guarantee you Stephen A. Smith has not only already talked about it on his show First Take, he's also probably given you a paragraph or two about his personal opinions on the topic. You want to know what Stephen A. Smith thinks about the Tyreek Hill situation? One sentence, and I will tell it to you. If the allegations are true, we won't see Tyreek Hill on a field for a long time. Period. What? This is the man that opens his mouth about everything. Literally everything. He talks about anything that's stupid, anything that doesn't make sense, anything that will get ratings. But for some reason, Tyreek Hill is not making the ratings, or maybe it's just too disturbing of a story that he doesn't want to dive into. Whatever the issue is, if the allegation is true, listen, man, it was recorded, like audio recording. I get it. It's not video, whatever. But for a man, a grown-ass man, a professional athlete that has muscles because he's supposed to fight other men, tells his fiance, look, you have to be terrified of me, you biatch. He tells this to a woman, and then he talks about how his son should be terrified of him. A 3-year-old child should be terrified of him. No, I don't care who you are. Even if he didn't hit his kid, you don't talk to your fiance like that. You don't talk. And what if his kid's in the room? You don't talk about that to your son in front of him. Like, Stephen A. Smith is such a cop-out, and I'm so pissed off that I don't see a
You got to take a stance on this one.
Essay. Like, exactly. Thank you. Yeah. You got to say something, Mr. I got everything to say about everything all the time. Like, if you don't know who Stephen A. Smith is, go check his stance on weed. Just go YouTube Stephen A. Smith and weed, and just watch all the rants, every single rant ever created that involved Josh Gordon or any other freaking football player about weed. Go check those videos out. Then go look for one that says Tyreek Hill abusing his child or abusing his fiance. And I guarantee you're going to find a 2-minute video about him saying, well, we're not sure what's going to happen, but once we find out and we find the truth, then that guy's never going to play football again. What? This is the guy that jumps the gun on every single story that ever comes across his table. But this one story, he won't say anything about? What a cop-out. What, like, I can't stand it, man. I feel like the stories that really matter, that really affect the league, no one ever wants to touch it. And it's so frustrating.
Because honestly, dude, we're not. We're because we want it entertains it. It entertains people, and it's sickening. But honestly, I'm sad to say, truthfully, Tyreek Hill probably will have a job, probably will be in the NFL, and America is going to pay for it, and America is going to watch it. And it's sad to say that, but it's that attitude. It's that indifferent attitude. I'm not going to take a stance so I can watch this talented person play. You know, I wasn't there, so I can't call everything. But we have the audio. Take a stance, dude. Like, that's what I'm saying. You have people have to be held accountable. Players, even yourselves, hold yourself accountable to what you accept from people.
I have to recant what I said about Stephen A. Smith a little bit. I just was going to YouTube because I wanted to make sure I don't just spew nonsense out like he does. And he did have an argument with Max Kellerman and Will Kane on It's on YouTube. You can go check it out. Just Stephen A. Smith on Tyreek Hill. And he's saying that there's no justification for his actions. He is shocked about him actually hitting his son if it's true. So he's very, very big on making sure that this is all legit, that the story that's coming out is a legit story. It's such an outrageous story that nothing in my mind will change the fact that it's not true right now. I think right now I'm very emotional about this topic. If by some, I don't believe it would ever be, but if it turns out this is all a lie, if it turns out that his wife just taped him and he was just in a bad mood and he was just mouthing off and he just wanted to show how big and bad he was, which I don't think is true at all, how do they prove that? How do you prove that he didn't do it, you know? And I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. All I know is when you tell your fiance on an audio recording, you better be scared of me too, and he better be scared of me. And the description of just seeing a 3-year-old getting hit in the chest by a grown professional athlete, I can't get over that. He needs to be banned from the league. I think this is a situation where you ban him until it's proven innocent. And if he's proven innocent, then yeah, you take the ramifications of it. Okay, you punish the wrong guy, whatever. But this is not a situation where you sit on it and you wait. I mean, this is ridiculous. And then also, if it is found out to be true, like he legitimately, this is all true, if he's not banned from everything for life, then Roger Goodell's trash, even more, like deeper than trash. He needs to be banned from the league forever. Like,
well, what do you say? What do we do? What do we do as a person? What do we do? Do we participate in it? Do we draw a line and say, do we stop that Tyreek Hill takes place in? Because ultimately we're gonna have to.
I'm not
change something, and it doesn't sound like
I'm never gonna.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I feel you. I understand. I can.
I don't care if
anything.
I don't care if. Yeah, dude, if it comes out that he didn't do it, just the fact that he said that to his fiance has already ruined me. Like, I don't want anything to ever do with him. I don't want to, whoever drafts him in our fantasy league or whatever fantasy league I'm ever in, if they ever draft him, I'm going to boo him. I'm going to make fun of that person. I'm going to talk trash about him. At the end of the day, he's a terrible human, like worse. He's the worst person in the league right now, in my opinion. And I can't think, excluding.
I can't think of anybody worse.
Excluding Aaron Hernandez, I can't.
But he's
I
dead.
I really can't think of anyone worse right now. Like Ray Rice. Ray Rice was a shitty situation. It really was. And then Adrian Peterson, like, really went on my shit list with what he did. But neither of those
Even so,
compared to
I don't want
the
to get I don't want to get I don't want to
have
get
in my head of a
I don't want to get too deep into it. I don't want to get too deep into it, but I think even though Adrian Peterson's was still child abuse, I think his was the more like old school discipline type child abuse. So I mean, like, not making an exception to it, but I don't want to compare him to breaking his son's arm. Well, I don't want. I know I know his was ugly, but he was very. I think what Adrian Peterson said was he openly admitted to switching his child in an interview. Like, and I think he has no guilt about it. I think even to this day he doesn't have guilt about it. So I'm kind of hesitant to compare that to Tyreek Hill, just because I feel like Tyreek Hill is almost to an insane person level. Not that Adrian Peterson's way of doing things now is not on an insane level. It's different.
Okay, I'll give you that, because I think AP, he did come out, he admitted all of it, he never declined any of it, and he did say, this is kind of just my form of punishment. And I mean, growing up in that environment, that's what he's used to, that's what he's known to. So I mean, he never physically hit his child like with his actual body, but I mean, those pictures were rough though. But
I mean, there was bruises. I remember seeing the bruises.
At the end of the day, the turd, he says, that's not how the world works, fam. Ray Rice, AP, Ray Lewis. Yeah, I mean, we said that, turd. We said that he's on Twitch. We said that. We said all those are pretty much in par. Ray Lewis, I mean, that's a different situation. There's no proof that he did it, and again, I don't know how you prove Tariq Hill's situation. There's medical reports of his fiance before she actually called the cops on the situation. So you can base that as proof.
Even
with his son.
Even the son says he hits him. Like I think Daddy hits me, I think is what the son said. There's like quotes I read about it. I didn't listen to the audio, honestly. I didn't want to listen to the audio.
Yeah, I'm not listening to that. I won't be able to. I really won't be able to. It's just an awful situation, and like I said, I'm gonna end it again with the same statement. He needs to be banned from all professional sports, amateur sports, any sport whatsoever. If any league ever picks him up, I'm done with him. Like, I'm never gonna. This is one of the most disgusting stories I've ever heard. You have to punch a 3-year-old child in the chest, and then you force the child to open his arms up. Like, I'm being that descriptive because people really gotta understand this is a grown man punching a 3-year-old child in the chest. Like that. Like, I'm a grown man now, and if I get punched in the chest by a grown man, that freaking hurts. So I can only imagine to a 3-year-old child, your own father, literally knocking you out, and you're like, oh my god. Turd says Caleb Jones beat his wife. Yeah, that's true. Anyways, yeah, we're moving on from this because we've kind of expressed the situation on that. So I
mean, we can keep naming people. We can keep naming people. But the thing is that just shows how unaccountable the NFL is.
Yeah, that's an amazing point, Tyler. Yeah, because Turd just dropped another one. Alden Smith beat his girlfriend's wrists. Reuben Foster's girlfriend.
Reuben Foster, and then the guy Lewis, the Kraken, Greg Hardy. He played for the Carolina Panthers, and then threw his girlfriend.
I totally forgot about Greg Hardy.
Threw her on some like AK-47s, and then like the next season served like I don't know, 2 or 4 game suspension, and then played terribly, wasn't very good, made a bunch of drama scenes. He just and then so it's just not an accountable situation, man. I think it should be a one strike situation. Especially the privilege these guys
Turd,
get, you know, the privilege of like of having the opportunity to make this much money. You shouldn't have this many opportunities, you know.
Yeah. Turd, I feel like you just kind of chimed in, Turd. We were talking about before the story actually broke. He just said Ezekiel Elliott choking his girlfriend. Turd, we were talking about how crappy of a job Roger Goodell's doing. I mean, this falls directly on his shoulders. He's supposed to be the bearer of the shield to make sure that the shield has integrity and all that blah 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 jazz, and he doesn't do anything about it. I mean, dude, keep going. Turd, don't stop. Name all those names because you're proving my point even more. Roger Goodell's trash. And Tyler makes a really good point. Turd, you probably missed that too. Tyler was talking about how females should be brought into the upper house. Maybe even take full control. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't care who's in that office. He needs to be fired, and he doesn't need to be taken care of for the rest of his life. He's straight trash, all trash, total garbage. Any situation that involves any domestic violence, any dispute, the owners just want to dust it under a rug. And, you know, and I'm tired of this whole mentality of like, you know, we got to keep quiet about it until the truth comes out. Like, no, that's so horseshit. Like, it's just a cop-out way of saying, you know what, these guys are too good to give up. We've invested too much money in them. That's your own damn fault. Like, you guys sit here and you test them, you quiz them, you put them through like tons of training, all these stupid regiments. You ask them all these stupid educational questions. You talk to their families, their friends, their coaches, everyone. You talk to every single person about all these people. And at the end of the day, you guys don't do anything after the fact. You do all this research and all this progress before you draft them, and you rip them apart, you make them naked, and you make them like show their entire life. And then the moment you invest in them, you hide all of their flaws. You hide everything. You
Right.
don't let anyone know about them. You don't let anyone share their opinions on them, and it's so bullshit. Like I'm so fucking mad about it. It's so frustrating, man. Like it's so.
It
trash.
really should.
I
Honestly,
hate how the NFL
honestly,
handles this situation.
it should just be a one-time deal. And like they're just, and I hate to keep harping on it, but they're just so. Honestly, you can replace Tyreek Hill easily, you know, and I don't understand why people think that's a hard thing to do. You know, there are so many other people who play football in the world, and there are so many other people who have world class speed just like him. I know it's called world class speed for a reason, but people have that talent. You know, it's not just him. There's plenty of people. There's plenty of people who've been playing the game for years who just didn't have the same opportunities that he had. Didn't stand in front of the same person that he stood in front of. It's just that different, and you know, because the NFL, getting to the NFL is such a small opportunity. Why are we wasting all these small opportunities on one piece of shit? You know, it's frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, it's so frustrating. Turd dropped more names. He said Monty Ball, Johnny Manziel, Justin Cox, Ray McDonald, Josh Brown. I mean, all more points, you know, proven. Anyways, we gotta close out with our happy story. Okay, we gotta do it real quick. We'll knock it out, and then we'll get out of here. I know we went over a little bit of time here. So if you guys don't watch, Last Chance U is a Netflix show where they follow East. I believe it's East Mississippi Community College. East Mississippi Community College is basically a college that really good athletes, mostly football players, go to because they can't play in the NCAA anymore, or they can't play in like a D1 or D2 situation because they've basically messed up. Either it's academic, you know, getting in trouble with the law, any situation that could force them to not play collegiate ball, but they still can play physically and mentally. So Last Chance U follows this college, and when I've watched it, and their first season, they follow the head coach who's been there for years, and he's won every title for the past so-and-so years. He was just really, really tough on the players. But all the players that came through there were big time talent. There was a lot of Florida State quarterbacks go there.
Franklin.
But there was
John Franklin.
There was Franklin the third. He went there.
Yeah.
There was one guy before Franklin that went there. They were both from Chad Kelly. Chad Kelly went there.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
He was Mr. Irrelevant. Gosh, there's C.J. Reeves. C.J. Reeves. He went there.
Oh yeah.
If you don't know who he is, he just signed with the Jaguars in 2018. And then Jonathan Franklin, like I said, the third. He's there. He plays for the Bears now. But anyways, this guy
He plays in the NFL?
Talk about Dakota Allen. Huh?
Jonathan Franklin plays in the NFL?
What'd you say? Yeah, John Franklin. He plays DB.
He was so
And he signed a
trash.
deal with
He
the
was so
Bears.
trash. Oh God, he was so trash.
Yeah, he plays.
He
for
was the
Bears
worst.
right
He was the worst player ever.
now. Well, he's in the NFL. So Dakota Allen.
I guess opportunities
Dakota
aren't
Allen
wasted.
Is the first. Yeah, exactly. Dakota Allen is the first last chance U player drafted in the NFL. Now, he's not the first EMCC player to be drafted, but he is the first guy that was on the show Last Chance U to be drafted ever. And I think that show's still going to be going on. They have a couple more seasons lined up. So they're hoping he won't be the last. But what's cool about him, he has a little bit of a backstory. He actually originally, hold on a second, if I get it right. Yeah, so he arrived at Texas Tech in 2014 as a freshman. He finished second on the team in tackles as a redshirt freshman in 2015. But then he lost his spot at Texas Tech because of a burglary charge in 2016. Prosecutors dropped the charges against him before the 2016 season, but at that point, he had already been dropped from the team. That's when he went to EMCC, where he led the team in tackles and was basically a model citizen on the show. If you actually watch the show, he's really big into Bible study there. He ran his own Bible study. He was really big in helping his team out, become better leaders, stuff like that. You know, the basic cool stuff that, people are trying to redeem themselves does. And then he even talks about the show a little bit. He said, basically everything you saw was what was happening. Nothing was recorded or scripted. It was me. I lived it, and that's why I only watched it once, so I was a repeat. So it wasn't repeated. I wouldn't take anything away because I learned a lot from that experience, if that makes sense. So that's Alan talking about his experience. Ultimately, a lot of people credit him for being he can stop the run efficiently. He has good instincts for the passing game as well. And right now in the fast league that the NFL is becoming, you need smaller, faster linebackers. We're noticing that, and that's what he is. He had 5 interceptions throughout his whole college career, 4 at Texas Tech, and then 1 at EMCC. So he actually got better. So after he left EMCC and went back to Texas Tech, he ended up getting 4 interceptions than what he got previously there. So, yeah, awesome story for him. Great turnaround for that kid. We'll find out, how well he does in the future. He, like I said, he got drafted. I know I didn't say where he got drafted. I'm trying to find that. I can't find it.
Good for this kid.
But
He really worked his butt off. We could tell.
Yeah, he's really stud player, man. And there's actually another player from season 1, who just got signed as well. Ronald Ollie. He was in season 1, and he's a defensive tackle, and he just made a deal.
I knew
with
it was
the
a big
Raiders.
guy.
Well, actually, no, he's going to the Raiders.
He's really
he's a
funny.
big dude. He's really funny. He always struggled academically. That was his issue. He just couldn't get his grades up.
Right.
So that was always his problem. But he's with the Raiders now. He didn't get drafted, so that's why he's not on that list of the first draftees from the show. but he is a free agent that got picked up. So, hope good things happen to him as well. So at the end of the day, great turnaround story for him, and we'll see what happens. But let's get out of here. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is 16-minute suspension with Tyler Williams.
Yo, thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate it. 60-minute suspension. Catch us Tuesdays at 9. We also have Spotify. You can find us on any Amplified network, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, or maybe not Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, all those. You can find me. I write for The Turf at theturfsports.com. Please keep up to date. Draft Raid's coming out this week.
Yeah, man. Make sure you always check out his stuff at The Turf. He's always got good articles. He's becoming somewhat of a good article writer, I would say. And, at the end of the day, make sure you follow Amplified Network. We're on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and we have Spotify channels. But Amplified Network is not actually on Spotify. Just all of our shows are on Spotify, which is cool. They're all individual shows, so you can check all of them out. At the end of the day, thank you guys. We will see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. with Anime Club. See you guys.